What's going on, beautiful people? It is your girl, Fox Shantae.
And I'm Kanisha.
And this is Steady Mommin. Well, darling.
We back.
Welcome to episode 3, my dear. So, for all of you ladies out there, we will be talking about sex today.
Let's talk about sex, baby.
Listen, we have an amazing guest for you guys today. We have the beautiful Miss Karli Harvey Raymond. She is a thriving entrepreneur. Together with her husband, they have acquired multiple insurance companies and carved out a lane for themselves in the financial services industry.
Karli's true passion can be experienced while taking the stages of some of the world's most luxurious events as a mistress of ceremonies in countries like South Africa, Bermuda, and the Cayman Islands, just to name a few.
As a certified sex educator, Karli dedicates herself to empowering women to experience the pleasure they deeply desire and deserve, baby. That's why she's here today.
Karli has been featured in Essence Magazine, Sheen Magazine, the Redefining Wealth Podcast, and the Hardly Initiated Show. Karli is a 2024 Hallmark Mahogany Honors Awards recipient and believes love is a boomerang and what you give out certainly comes back to you.
It really does.
It sure do.
You know, I'm a karma girl. I believe that goes both ways. Okay.
Child, I want to see some karma.
Good karma and good karma only. Ladies, since we are having a very sexy show, we have a very sexy mom tale for you today, okay? Today's mom tale is called the Liquid Panty Dropper, okay? Go ahead and go get you some non-alcoholic whiskey, grenadine, non-alcoholic creamer. We're going to throw that over some ice, top it with a slice of red velvet cake. And for all of my drinking mamas, trade that non-alcoholic whiskey with some real whiskey and the non-alcoholic creamer with some Baileys, and you are in there, okay? Ooh. All of our drinks come from the master mixologist of Atlanta, so y'all go ahead and check her out.
All right, girl, is it my time yet?
Girl, let me get your 30 seconds.
Please, you know I need it. Where's the phone?
Boom. Okay. It is mommy vent time, honey. What are we venting about today?
All right, girl. So, just being a newly single mama, it's a lot of balance. And I'm just trying to figure out, how do I balance it all? I just started acting, so I've added another thing to my schedule. Yeah. Girl, I took my kids to the park because it's summertime. Yeah. And I was literally in the car crying because I was like, how am I going to balance all of this? My son, he plays basketball. My daughter, she's 15. She's got things she wants to do. My 5-year-old, she just wants to go to the park every damn day. Yeah. So I'm like, how am I really going to pull this off?
Well, knowing you, I know you've already tried some type of something. What have you tried thus far?
So recently what I've done is I've created a schedule for myself because I'm like, okay, just like with a 9-to-5, you got to adhere to something. Yeah. So I actually fleshed out everything that I have to do known to man. And I plotted it between, I think I started at like 5 a.m. to maybe cutting it off about 10. And in that, like I said, I plotted different things that I had to do. And I realized I actually have more time in a day than I thought.
Than it feels like.
It does, because otherwise, just when you don't have a schedule or something that you're plotting, it just jumbled and you feel like you don't have enough time in a day.
Writing things down is actually a very powerful practice. I did a little research about things like moms can do or tricks they can use to kind of balance it all. And I found that having a morning routine helps, setting boundaries and prioritizing your time, taking care of yourself spiritually, mentally, emotionally. If you on E, you ain't gonna be able to balance nothing. You gotta have some strength to be able to pour from you into others. So take care of yourself. Create a weekly meal plan instead of trying to figure out what we eating every day.
Girl, what we gonna eat?
And keep a clean and organized home.
Yeah. So that's a big one.
That's a big one for me too, because my mind don't work in clutter, baby. It's enough clutter up here. I got to get it out.
I'm telling you. So some additional tips I would say is using ChatGPT to plan meals. Get a planner, calendar, utilize your reminders in your phone. Really with that, I have a special crazy and I'm trying to understand my own crazy. So, I'm trying to get with the technology. I was putting stuff inside of my calendar on my phone, but I found between Instagram notifications and everything else, it was just like notification. And so I wasn't even really paying attention to it. So I was like, let me just get a paper and put down what my stuff is. Like, what do I need to do, where I need to be? So y'all pray for me.
They do have some little planners that you hang on your wall at the Dollar Tree. I saw them the other day, literally. So it kind of has a space for your daily to-do. It has a space for the meals, and it has a space for like notes. Yeah, for $1.25.
Baby, take a picture. Like, send that to me.
Yeah, squirrel. All right. My turn event.
It's your turn, baby. What you got?
All right. So the other day, I'm scrolling on Instagram, social media like we do. I come across this video of a young lady putting eyelashes on her baby. Now, this baby got to be about 5. That baby wasn't no older than 5.
That's ridiculous.
And it just kind of took me to a space of agitation because I'm so tired of these children being overly sexualized. Like, even when I'm shopping for my 4-year-old, it is insane because why are there crop tops and little booty shorts for 4-year-olds?
Girl.
Where are they going?
I don't know. Kindergarten?
Girl, no. I need her to look like she's 4.
I understand.
Exactly like she's 4. Not 5, not 15, 4.
I understand. I mean, it really is sad. We're just rushing it. I mean, we need to give these kids something to look forward to. I mean, eyelashes at 5 years old is a bit crazy. Excessive. I mean, it's overly excessive.
Even you think, like, I've seen moms sending kids to kindergarten with bust down wigs, baby.
I've never seen that.
Kindergarten. No
I
lie.
don't understand. For what? Like, again, I say, you're not giving these kids nothing to look forward to. 0 to 18, they're going to let them be kids.
I think for me, the saddest part about that is what it's doing to the young lady mentally. You know, during, like you said, 0 to 18, that's the time for them to be able to look in the mirror and love themselves bare.
Yeah,
you know, they don't need all this weave and makeup and lashes and wig. Like, for what? So if you're getting them used to that this young, then when they get older, are they not going to be able to go out of the house without a beat face?
Exactly.
You know, like, what are you doing to their psyche?
I agree. I mean, that's a really great point because for me, I'm 40 years old. I just started wearing makeup, and I only started wearing makeup because of the entertainment industry because I'm in the acting now. You know what I mean? Otherwise, I mean, give me some like mascara, little lip gloss, and that's it. So I don't know. I think it's real sad.
That makes me sad.
It does. It's terrible. Well, we got an inspirational quote for you guys. Confidence is the sexiest outfit a woman can wear. What you feel about that?
I love it.
Yeah.
Confidence is so powerful because I think, especially with us mommies, like, not everybody loses it, but most moms go through a point in the beginning of motherhood or even like throughout the journey where they don't feel like themselves. They don't feel beautiful.
It's true.
You know, so it's a journey and a fight to grab that confidence sash and throw it around you and wear that. So confidence is definitely the sexiest thing that you can wear in and outside of the bedroom, baby.
Period. Especially in the bedroom.
Especially in the bedroom. Don't play with it. Okay.
All right, girl.
Running into mommy news.
Okay, I'm ready.
So, y'all know we have to talk about the sexiest case that is on the television if we having a conversation about sex. And we already know where I'm about to go with this.
Who is it, girl?
Diddle.
So
I'm gonna just run through this real quick for y'all because I had to look it up. I didn't necessarily know exactly what he was being charged with, right? So I was like, well, let me see. So he's being charged with 1 count of racketeering. I didn't know what that was, so I got the definition for y'all too. A pattern of illegal activities, including fraud, extortion, and bribery carried out by a criminal organization to gain wealth or control. Also being charged with 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution.
I will be honest, you know, I never really like watching the news, but since this show, you know, I have to stay plugged in. But still, when I think about this case, I grew up listening to Diddy. I know about the franchise and everything like that. And to correlate this with him was really heartbreaking for me. But when I saw how he drugged Cassie, it took me to a different dimension. I honestly been kind of staying away from the case. It's just too sloppy for me.
I think that the media has just grabbed on to all of the sexy parts of it, the baby walls and all of that, the threesomes and all of that. But unfortunately, I'm not a lawyer, y'all, so don't quote me on this, but I really don't think he's gonna go to jail. And the reason why I don't think he's going to go to jail is because they did too much with these charges. You know, like in court, the prosecutors have to get the jury to agree to the definition of whatever the charge is, like, or it's just a no. And I think the prosecutors just got overzealous with this whole RICO thing. They could have very well charged him with all the stuff that he did. The rape, the prostitution, the blowing up of cars. Like, there are things that you could have very much have charged him for that would have kept him in jail for a minute. But y'all doing too much. So because of that, he gonna get out. And then if he don't get out, your boy, whose name is unspoken, is gonna let him out anyway. So at this point, it just don't even matter. It just don't even matter.
Yes, girl.
But I have a game that was inspired by this case. You ready to play?
I'm ready to play. I love games.
Okay, so the game is called Freaky or Off.
Okay.
All right, so ladies, I want y'all to play too. Answer. We can't hear you, but we can feel you, okay? So basically, I'm going to say something that is correlating with the case, and we're going to say whether or not it is freaky or if it's just off. Okay? Baby oil.
Off.
Big off, because don't nobody need no baby pool full of baby oil.
You know this to mess up my pH now.
Oh, baby.
I mean, look, BV, we ain't got no time for that.
Goodbye.
What about threesomes? Freaky or okay?
Freaky. As long as all adults are consenting.
Okay.
Freaky.
I'm going to say it's off for me. I'm a little old school. I'm sorry. And even doing this particular show, I realize I'm very conservative. I'm like, oh, I ain't doing that. I'm like, oh, Lord. I didn't know that.
Yes, you have had a few of those. Okay. P-play.
No, thank you.
Definitely off.
It's off. I don't want to go to shower.
Never mind. I just ain't even gonna go there because I don't even understand. I don't get it.
No, nobody peeing in my mouth. None of that.
Next.
Okay. Watching your partner with someone else, freaky or off?
Sorry, babe. For me, it's off.
It's an off for me, but I would definitely have sex in front of somebody.
With my man.
Period.
That's freaky. That's freaky. Okay. Now, being watched, freaky.
Watch these back shots.
Making a sex tape with your mate.
Freaky.
Love
I would do it.
Make the tape, then watch the tape and make another one, baby.
Ooh.
There you go.
Bam, bam, bam.
So, ladies, I hope you enjoyed that game. Let us know what you thought was freaky and off in the comment section, okay? Well, honey, it's about that time to bring our lovely, amazing guest on, Miss Karli.
Yes.
Alrighty, mommies. We have an amazing fellow mommy in the studio with us today, Miss Karli Harvey Raymond. Welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is going to be super fun.
Yes. So tell us about your journey into motherhood and how life led you into becoming a sex educator.
Okay, so I have been with my husband. We've been together 13 years. We're about to celebrate our 10th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. And he is still alive. I have not killed him.
Good job.
He has not killed me.
That's a win.
So a win is a win. But I got married and, had a child when I was in my 30s. And so for most people, even my mom, she was like, oh, well, you're an older mom, having a baby. I was kind of borderline geriatric pregnancy. They love to tell you.
They love that word.
When I became a mom and a wife, I had lived this kind of like jet setting life. So I was always traveling. I was constantly on a plane. I had been a hairstylist and wardrobe stylist for a number of years. I was always talking to my clients about sex. When people sit in your chair as a hairstylist, they're, who's getting married, who's getting divorced, who's sleeping with who and all the things.
Wow.
And so people are very open. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I talk about sex all the time. And then when I was in high school, I was a peer educator for the Red Cross. So even when I was 17, I wasn't sexually active, but I was constantly talking to people about sex. So I was constantly teaching people about the transmission of HIV and sexually transmitted, at the time, diseases, STDs, but now we say sexually transmitted infections. And so I was constantly teaching people about what could happen if you did have sex. sex, right?
Yeah.
And so when I became a wife and a mom, I felt like I was this really sexual person. I was like, I'm so in this. I love my husband. Oh, girl, we getting in here. We doing it. Okay. And then when I had a baby, life changed. It hit me. My hormones changed. I was deeply impacted after having a baby. And so was my sex life and my libido. And I felt like, who am I? I didn't really recognize the woman who was looking at me in the mirror. And it was, it was heartbreaking for me. It was hard because I was like, who the fuck is this? And so after that time, I was still talking about sex with my friends. I was still having that open conversation. But when one of my girlfriends went through a divorce, and she had been with her husband for 20 years, they had a child, and she was like, well, I want to get back to dating. I want to get back to, having sex. Like, I want to have that. And so I started pouring into her. We started building her confidence and things that she could start incorporating as she navigated her new life as a single woman. And so she was like, oh my God, Karli, you're so good. I was like, and she was like, I said, you know what? I've been thinking about getting certified. Do you think I should go through this course? She's like, yes, absolutely. More women need your help. And so I took my courses, got certified, and I haven't looked back. And I think it's been really life-changing. I've seen the impact of me just talking to women about sex, about taking control of their wants, needs, and desires, but how those desires change over time, how our wants change over time, what we need from our relationships, how do we deepen our intimacy with our partners. And so when I started talking to women, open up, people would send me messages like, Karli, you just saved my life. You saved my life. And so it was, it's been just beautiful. It's been a beautiful journey. And so now, I get to host classes and talk to women all the time about sex and all the things that, they want to see, but also the things they want to change, how to communicate that. And it's been great. It's been great.
I think it's so amazing how there are little pieces of who you're becoming in all parts of your life.
Yes.
Like you said, you were learning and talking to people before you were even sexually active. And then now you're a sex educator. And that is just beautiful.
Beautiful story.
I'm sorry, I be seeing God in everything.
No,
okay?
it is.
Amen.
But it is. It really is, because each of those moments has taught me to get more comfortable with yourself, but also in how do you spark up a conversation with people about sex,
right?
And make it so normal. One of my sex educator people I love is like Dr. Emily, and she says I want to make it so normal, like people talk about the weather, that they talk about sex.
Yes.
And so I know it's challenging because it's taboo. I've talked about sex in front of my mom, and people are like, well, how did you in front of your mom? Like, girl, at the end, she said, you know a lot. You know so much.
Oh, that's how embarrassing it is, mama.
Okay. Yeah. And so you learn a lot, but you see what women are experiencing because you see it from your own experience, your own self. How you were able to kind of change, and the things that you wanted changed over time, and your language changed and what you desired. And so how you're able to ask for those things that you really want.
Very nice. So speaking of educating sex, we are moms, and you ladies have children that are older than mine right now. And talking about sex is just, it's not just for us as moms and with our girlfriends, and we have to teach our kids about sex too, right? So I have a 4-year-old, and I've been really working on teaching her good touch, bad touch, right? One time I was on the phone with one of my homegirls, and she was giving her daughter a bath, right? And she asked her daughter's also 4. She asked her daughter, is it okay for me to wash your privates? And I just thought that was so amazing, because the fact that you're giving her that power of ownership of her body and being the gatekeeper of her body at such a young age, I think that is so important. So when talking to my daughter, what I've learned is, and tell me if I'm right or wrong, it's important to actually name the parts what they're called. And not give them nicknames.
Yes. And so when talking about children, people ask me, when should I start talking to my kids about sex? I said, as soon as they start asking. So the moment you start talking about sex and opening up that door, you start naming the body parts as the body parts and not giving them nicknames. Like my PP is not, it's a penis. My vagina, my vulva is not got a pocketbook or purse or whatever people call it. I've heard so many names for it.
Cupcake.
Okay, cupcake. Okay.
Pie.
Your pie? Really?
Yeah.
Okay, what are these food names? Very interesting.
It's edible later.
Right. Okay. So look, I look at it from a standpoint of we name things as though they are. We call a thing, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Because we don't want our children to get in situations where someone can tell them, well, it's just your little cupcake or it's just a little piece of pie.
Absolutely.
No, this is my body and it's important. And so when we name things, we call them what they are because it gives children autonomy over their bodies. It's able, even your friend saying, oh, can I wash your body? You know, you're teaching them consent at an early age.
It's beautiful.
You know, how do you teach children consent? And it's those things that help us navigate because they're going to be adults longer than they're going to be children.
Exactly.
Right.
And so you're giving them the language that's going to empower them. Yes, you want them to have a childlike experience and be innocent and to experience the ability to be naive in some ways, right? But we want them to be prepared.
Absolutely.
Correct.
And so language gives us preparation.
I love that.
Have you ladies given your kids the talk yet?
So my son hasn't asked about sex per se. He asked where babies came from.
Okay.
You know, he was like, well, where did babies come from? How'd you get a baby in you? Like, did the baby just come? And so what I did, and it threw people off, I told people, I was like, I actually showed my son my birth video.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was he was like, oh, God.
Oh,
no stork, son. No stork.
My son was like, she pooped me out of her vagina. I said, oh, okay.
That's crazy. No, that's beautiful, actually. And I definitely respect that. For me, I'm a very honest and transparent person. And, you know, my ex would always say, you tell the kids too much. And I'm like, I just can't help it. Because in that spirit of preparation and being honest, you know, I feel like that for my kids when I talk to them about sex. I mean, even when, you know, there's a time when my son accidentally saw me naked, I'm like, let's not make it like it's a bad thing. This is a body.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't have to over-sexualize things. It's an accident. Okay, close the damn door. You shouldn't have been in there anyway.
Exactly.
But having conversations with my kids about sex, I talk to them just like that. I talk to them matter of fact. I give them street jargon. I give them, you know, the scientific name. And yeah, my son, he's 11. He's into sex. Okay. You know, he wants to understand it. You know, my 15-year-old ran into my dildo when she was trying to get something. Yeah. And, you know, my son heard about it. So he was like, well, mama, what's that? And I'm like, well, it's a dildo.
Okay. Are your children sexually active?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah. Lord, no.
Okay.
But, I mean, hey. Yeah. My son did run up on a porn. So that's how that conversation really happened is I seen something on his phone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so how did you end up with this? So you're curious, you want to know more. So that's how that conversation actually started.
So children are introduced to porn as early as 8 years old.
I was.
Because they have smartphones or they're going to their friends' houses. They have older brothers or sisters, siblings, cousins who are there. Yeah. And so the earliest introduction of porn in American culture is 8 years old because of
the access.
Internet. Yeah.
It was about 8 or 9 for me, but I didn't really have access to internet.
Well, you had to get a video.
It was my mama's video. Sorry, mama.
Wait.
Yeah. Or HBO Squiggly Line.
Yeah.
So.
And then we went to, what was it? What that tip drill was on?
Uncut.
Oh my goodness. Tip drill, baby, honey. That was a lot.
But we had to be up late. Like now they can just
it's on their phone. Yeah. So having a conversation early because what you don't tell them and what you refuse to tell them, someone will. And usually they're friends who know just as little about sex as them.
Exactly.
And so there's all this miscommunication, misinformation being passed around in a little lunch group. Absolutely. And you're like, what? And that doesn't make sense. So it's hard for parents. Most kids don't want to talk about sex with their moms. Yeah. They just don't. So it is one of those tough conversations.
Well, my son is like, Mom, I love I can have these conversations with you.
That's
so beautiful.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And then if you start them, like going back to the good touch back, like if you make them comfortable with it as they progress, they'll feel comfortable with
Yeah.
Talking about it.
Yes. Progresses.
This is how we procreate. Let's not make it a big deal. Let's not make it nasty. It's not nasty. This is a part of life. It's a part of life.
And even when they see you naked, like there are just homes that are like, you have naked homes and you have clothes there. You have clothed homes. Like
naked house.
Yeah. Where their kids are everyone's always walking around with no clothes on, which is normal for a lot of households.
I didn't realize that.
There's a whole cultural thing. You know, some people are like, oh, I can show my body, it doesn't matter. Versus some people are like, no, we're very closed. I never see, you know, my mom naked or my dad, you know, things like that. So it just depends on the family culture.
My mom had to get used to it, I think, a little bit, but like, you put some clothes on around that baby. Why? No, I'm in my house. She always walk around. It's her house. Leave her alone.
Yeah, I have a very, my son, he's always been he just walks around with no clothes on. And so we've had to be hey, you know, I get it. You're very free. You are very comfortable in your body, you know, but we might want to put some underwear on. So
now
there needs to be he definitely, now that he's going to be 9, he definitely puts on underwear. You know, it's not for someone like, oh my God, Karli got, okay. But I'm not, you know, it's not one of those things where if we're naked, it's a thing. So it's not a big deal.
I am teaching her now that she need to put on panties. I am. I'm like, girl, come put these panties on. I am.
We about to have company.
You need to know when to,
if you were to come over, don't worry, my son's not flashing everybody. This is not a running around, but we are if it's not a big deal.
So what do you guys think about the importance of consent? When it's, I mean, you have boys, right? So how do you talk to your son? Well, y'all haven't had the conversation.
Yeah, so I think even when we're talking about teenagers, they're going out, they're having these experiences. I think preparing children for any possible scenario, right? And so even when we think about consent is at whatever stage of the game we're in, we need to ask. So, for instance, if we're out on a date or they're out, hanging out, and there's kissing and touching, and then someone says, well, I want to do this to you. I want to do that to you. Okay, great. And then we move this to a house, a bedroom, a friend. So consent needs to be at every stage of the game. So whenever we're okay, whatever happened, for instance, if it's a boy-girl situation, the boy is saying, okay, she said she wants to give me some head, right? So then when she said that in the car, but then we got to the bedroom, you still need to ask her. She may say that in the car, but she may not be feeling that now. Okay, are you still comfortable? What are you trying to do? Or what do you, it's constantly asking. And I know that people are like, well, we didn't have to do that. We just did it. But then also we watch so many young, especially Black boys, get into these situations where their future was in jeopardy. Their freedom was at stake. And so when we talk about consent, we're talking about constantly asking if this is okay. Because at every stage in the game, she can change her mind, and that's okay. You can change your mind at any point in time. Because I've even had adult girlfriends who said, I got into a situation and it was we was already there. And I was I kind of didn't want to sleep with him no more. But then I was well, I didn't want him mad at me. I didn't want him upset with me. I didn't want him to feel and so instead of putting your feelings first, you put his before yours. And so you ended up in a situation that was, very detrimental to you and traumatic mentally. And so I always say, especially with our boys, and I have friends whose kids are athletes, these great, they're, and they're messing with all these different types of girls. Consent at every stage of the game.
I saw a video of a young man speaking, and I wish I knew who he was so I can tag him. But he was just saying that he's gotten to a space where he realizes that his body is valuable too.
Yes.
And he doesn't have to just spread his loins around.
Yes.
And, women need to ask him for consent too. And I was just absolutely. young man.
I think that is really when we we change our conversation around sex between boys and girls in our lives.
We do.
You know, we look at it from a standpoint of boys are great to have sex. We give them condoms and we say, go conquer the world.
We empower them.
Yes, we empower them to be sexual beings. Yeah. Meanwhile, with our girls, we shame them into submission. Yeah. We say, oh my God, no, don't do that. Wow. Oh no, you're going to be a whore. You're going to be a slut. You're going to be labeled, right? So we don't empower them in the same way. And so now we think boys, what makes them so great? And we say, oh, you're a stud. You're a jock. You're that. It's because we keep telling them the more women they conquer, the more valuable they are. Versus women and our girls, we tell them the least amount of people you encounter, the more valuable you are.
Wow. Girl, you talking that stuff
you
today.
know.
Come on now.
And so how do we then expect these two people to come together in a loving, harmonious relationship? Exactly. If one person has been told the more they conquer, they're great. The less they conquer, they're great. But then they're supposed to come together and love each other through it all.
We sent them on two separate missions.
On two different journeys.
Girl, that's
and we want the same outcome.
That is a word.
And so I say my son's sexual experience are just as important if I had a daughter. And so the same thing I'm going to tell my son, the same thing I would tell you, you're just as important. You're just as valuable. Yes. You don't have to sleep with everyone to make yourself seem great, right? But I want to empower my daughter to not rely on some boy to have condoms. And not and her sexual health be at the hand of someone else.
That's right.
And so we give our boys condoms to go have. Here, put these in your pocket. Yep. Put it in your, make sure you got your stuff. You know how to put your condom on? Yep. But then we're not empowering a girl to say, oh no, if a boy says, I don't have no rubber.
I got it.
I do. I have it. Thank you. Oh, I don't really know. It's going to feel great. And you teach her how to put on condoms because her sexual health is not going to be in the hands of someone else.
So I learned something. Honestly, I'm going to take all of that and put it in my little arsenal. Because that was like feeding me because I have boys and girls. Yeah. Well, I have a boy and girls. Yeah. So yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love how empowering our girls to stand in their no.
Yes.
You know, you touched on how the boy needs to get consent at every stage, which is great. I don't care, son, pull your phone out and record the girls. You need to. But
I say that I'm getting to the point we need hey, I need you to say on video that you're consenting to sex. And I made a joke. Yeah, I made a joke to some of my friends who have teenagers, and they were like, "Carly, but that does kind of make sense." I said, "Because we're in that age where anyone can say anything, and people can believe whatever they want to believe, and girls aren't believed too. Yeah. You know, and so this is not to take away anything from girls' experience and not being believed, because most people who have experienced sexual assault, they don't come forward because they don't feel like they're going to be believed.
Absolutely,
you know,
absolutely. So them standing in their no is very important. And like you said earlier, you can change your mind at any stage.
At any time, you can say no. If it does not feel good, you can always say no. You don't have to feel pressure to have sex. And I think that's just where we need to teach our children.
It's true.
Not giving them different messages, but how do we align our messages? How do we say hey, this is important for everybody to know? And so, when people say, well, what are you going to talk to your son? I said the same thing I would say, you know, because most men think, if I've had a lot of sex, I've had quantity. Quantity does not mean quality.
At all.
So just because you've had sex with a lot of people doesn't make you a good lover.
Exactly.
It doesn't make you great at what you do.
And just because you had one great experience don't mean that you can copy and paste that onto the next one.
It doesn't. The rules don't apply.
Hello. So back to the teens, ladies. What do y'all feel like about birth control for teenage girls?
So for me, I'm going to say I don't agree with it.
Okay.
I honestly feel like that's the least of your concern. If you're out there having sex, I'm more concerned about diseases that are permanent.
Yeah.
Yes, we want to prevent you from having a baby, but if you still popping it like it's hot, I mean, like I said, the baby's the least of your worries, because at least that's just going to redirect your life. But ultimately, I'm more concerned when it comes to introducing birth control too soon. I don't want my kids to be sterile. So I've heard a lot of horror stories, especially with the IUD being lodged and kind of just made its way somewhere else in your colon. That's where I stand with it.
Yeah.
The IUD's done me well.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Thankfully.
I have friends who are on IUD. When people ask me about girls getting on birth control, I say, well, that's a decision y'all will have to make as a family, right? You know, but I don't want people to just put their daughter on a birth control pill and not talk about what's going on.
Absolutely.
So instead of us saying, oh, let's get on birth control because I know you out here fucking, or I know you out here having sex, right? Then it's but we're not having the conversation of who, what, when, why, how. We're not having a conversation of who we're having sex with. Well, why do you want to have sex with them?
Right.
You know, where are we having sex? You know, what's your experience like? Because at that age, it's very hard to even navigate your own body to know what you like, right? So you know, like, he knows, like, 99% of the time when a man has sex, he's going to orgasm, right? He's going to orgasm since the beginning of time. The moment he starts having sex, he's going to orgasm, usually through penetrative sex, right? Women don't have that luxury all the time. And so now she's having sex as a teenager, but it's like, we haven't even talked about her pleasure, what she's experienced, what she's going through mentally, what are the things happening? And then when we introduce birth control very early, we're talking about a hormone disruption. So when we think about hormone disruption, and why I stray away from birth control being the option, right? It's because anytime there's a hormone disruption, we're stopping something from happening, right? We are stopping something in the body. We're preventing something that is supposed to occur. And if you're old enough and you say, look, I do not want children, I do not, you know, but it's a barrier, right? And it changes our hormones. But also let's talk about the depression that comes along with different birth controls, the anxiety, all of the imbalances that can happen that sometimes you're not even prepared for as a child. That you can, because you're already out of whack trying to deal with the new hormonal changes in your body. But now you have this new introduction of hormones that alters. And so how we think and feel and move. And so really we're talking about the depression, the acne, the anxiety, all of these things that come that we're not having that conversation about.
And they can't even put a name to what they're feeling or directed to something.
So it's a Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid really over the wound, right? And when we think about birth control, then I think talking about barrier protection is more important because we're just saying, okay, let's just put them on a pill, or let's give them an IUD or something like that, right? Our girls. But then we're not talking about prevention of sexually transmitted infections. We're not talking about all of these other things that can occur. We're just talking about don't have a baby. Okay.
That's the least of your concern.
It really is, you know, but let's talk about the other things that can happen, because birth control doesn't stop gonorrhea, chlamydia, herpes. It doesn't stop HIV. It does not stop any of those things. That just stops the baby.
So it's crazy you brought that up because we actually pulled up some stats.
They're interesting.
Right. So from 15 to 24 years old, they account for 70% of gonorrhea, 63% of chlamydia, 49% of HPV, 45% of genital herpes, 26% of HIV, and 20% of syphilis.
Well, see, right now, I mean, HPV, when you look at, I really just listened to something like, HPV is kind of like the common cold of sexually transmitted infections. That's what you look at. It's like the common cold. If you're having sex, you have been exposed to HPV.
They've been pushing them
vaccines, shots, and I say no.
Yeah, they push vaccines. Like if you're under the age of 45, you should get vaccinated for HPV. This is the thing. HPV will usually clear in your system within 2 years. HPV is literally like the common cold.
I had it when I was 18.
Most people, that's going to be the number one thing people are going to test for is HPV. It can lead to cervical cancer. So HPV is the human papilloma virus, right? And so it spreads really through skin contact. Think of it as like glitter.
What?
Think of it as like glitter. Like when you get in glitter, and glitter just
everywhere.
It's everywhere. HPV is there.
Oh, wow.
And so there are different strands of HPV. And so when you get it, like some HPV causes cervical cancer, anal cancer, throat cancer, right? You have all these people who've come out in the media saying they have all these different cancers related to HPV. Well, those are only certain strands. And you have certain strands that are going to give you genital warts.
Oh, wow.
Then that's a strand. Those strands usually do not cause cancer. Those are the genital warts can be frozen off, very simple. And so you are going to be exposed. If you are having sex, I don't care how old you are. Yeah. If you are having sex, you are going to be exposed to a sexually transmitted infection.
It's spreading.
It's spreading. It is. It's like glitter. That's how a doctor described it. It's like glitter.
I love it.
It's like glitter. So the thing about it is, there's certain, sexual acts that seem more safe, right? When you think of like, most people say, I just gave him a little head, right? They think, okay, well, when you think of like oral sex, it's like being able to spread is highly unlikely that you'll get HIV if you have oral sex, right?
Well, that's good to know.
Right? Okay. Okay, you might not get HIV, but guess what you could get? Gonorrhea in your mouth. You can get, if there's an active outbreak of HSV-2, which is genital herpes. HSV-1 is cold sores on your mouth. Okay. But if they have a cold sore in their mouth, they can pass you herpes onto your vulva.
Really?
Yes. If there's an active cold sore, that's an active outbreak on your mouth.
There go that miscommunication that happened at the lunch table back in the day. I thought that they were separate, like different. I did not know that.
They are different. So cold sores on your mouth is going to be HSV-1. Right. So that's like what most people, that is the common form of herpes.
Right.
It's HSV-1. Yes. Okay. Most Americans, most people have had a cold sore, right? HSV-2, which is genital herpes, usually like, it used to be like 1 in 4. They're seeing like 1 in 8 have genital herpes right now. But anytime you have an outbreak, whether it's HSV-1 or HSV-2, you have an active outbreak, you can pass it.
Do not do no oral if you have a cold sore in your mouth.
You need to wait. You need to wait until the cold sore is healed. You need to wait, about a week.
So just for me to make sure I'm understanding. So if you have HSV-1 and you have an open sore and you have oral sex, like you eating on a female, it'll turn into 2
you will pass HSV. You will pass the virus.
Got it.
But
it will turn in, that 1 will turn into a 2 because it's on the vaginal.
You will be testing probably positive for HSV-1.
Even on the vagina? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it.
But see, this is the thing. Most people think that they're having like extremely, when they say, I want a blood test or certain things, that and once that blood test comes back, that they're being tested like that's the end all be all. And so some people have been misdiagnosed with HIV or herpes or things like that because of the test. So some of the tests that you're given are not conclusive. So you need to get tested again. Oh, yeah. So depending on, some people don't even have never had an outbreak, but they're a carrier. Right. So they have no idea of knowing they've never had an outbreak, but they're a carrier of the virus. And so most people are saying, well, he knew. No, sometimes they do not know. They've never had an outbreak and they pass it on. But because it's a skin virus, it sheds. So depending, even if you're taking like a Valtrex or something like that on a normal basis, that's keeping your symptoms at bay, you can still, like, there may be a certain times of the year where you're still shedding and you just don't know it.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
But you're passing when it is an active outbreak. So if you have an active open sore or you have on your genitals, if there is an outbreak, there are little bumps or there's some sort of a sore there, then you can pass it. Wow. But usually when you do not have an active outbreak, you're not passing the virus.
Okay, that's good. That's
you're not passing the virus.
That was good, ladies. That was really good. Like, I've learned education
now. I'm ready to get nasty.
You can still, but even if you're trying to prevent HIV, there's certain things you can take, like PrEP. PrEP is
somebody just told me about that.
It's all over the TV. I swear. It come on the commercials.
I just don't like any medication.
But there are so many things. I know for a lot of us, we go like the holistic route, and building up your immune system is so important. If you can take certain herbs and things that are just help to build your immune system, you're great, right? But there are things available to us that do protect us. So growing up in the 90s, I was in high school in the 90s. And so, we grew up in the very scared straight area. We were just scared to have sex.
Dare?
Yeah, we had dare in elementary school, don't do drugs. And then we had I remember vividly Magic Johnson announcing that he was HIV positive in the very early 90s. And so we lived in this very scary time because we didn't have all of the medications and all the things. So we looked at getting something as just like a death sentence, you know, but that's not the case. And so even when we think of like herpes or HIV, which will stay with you lifelong, right? They're not death sentences, you know? People still have very great, thriving sex lives. They are very happy. Guess what? And this is the thing, the people who actually know their status and get tested all the time are safer to have sex with than the people who don't know their status and are never getting tested.
Some people think that getting tested is like a curse word. I've never understood that. I used to get there was a place down the street from where I grew up that allowed kids that were teenagers that were under 18 to come and get tested, to come and get condoms. And I used to stay over there because, baby,
well, we're going to get into that. Okay. All right. We're going to get into the whole testing thing because I'm scared straight being a newly divorcee. I'm scared.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
So, okay, wait. I got to say this because this education piece has been so good. I just wonder, like, do they still have like sexual education classes in school?
No.
Speaking of the time that we were in, remember we had...
That's so sad.
They was giving us babies to take home as birth control.
Not at all schools. So the majority of schools have like done away with like some of their sex education programs. And so we're living in a time where, I mean, definitely growing up, it was abstinence. People it was nothing but abstinence. But we know like the more education people have, the better choices they make when it comes to their sexual health and wellness,
so
right?
It's up to us mamas to teach our kids.
It is. Do not be afraid. I know it's uncomfortable, but you know, you have to do the uncomfortable things.
Sex is not bad.
It's great. It's wonderful.
Let's talk about that. So, ladies, I kind of want to transition the conversation into us talking about sex, the roles sex play, and how sex shows up in different like areas and times of our life, like in marriage and divorce and our elderly years. So let's jump off into marriage. Like, what does sex look like after marriage?
Yes. How can sex change in a marriage?
Oh my God. Well, I think just like your relationship, there's an ebb and flow. There's an ebb and flow where, you know, I tell people you're going to fall in and out of love many times when you're married. You know, you're going to fall in and out of love, you know. In different seasons, you know, you're going to need more than love to sustain the relationship, you know.
That's where the commitment piece comes in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I remember when Cookie Johnson did a book talk when she wrote her book, something magic. It was something, but she told her story about when Magic Johnson told the world that he had HIV. And she said people were like, why didn't you leave him? Why didn't you leave him? Why did I mean, you were still healthy. You were still great. Like you were still young. Why didn't you leave him? And the one thing she said that stood out to me that I still think about is she said, he was my friend. And she said, I could not leave my friend when he needed me the most. And so in a marriage, the things that sometimes carry us is not the love and the romantic love of a partnership, but it's the friendship that carries us through the difficult times, the challenging times. And so even in that friendship, the things that change in our marriage, where we might be hot and heavy for each other in the beginning, right? We're like, oh my God, you look so good. And then, you know, you get married and they lay in there, you be like, you contemplating ways to murder them in their
Correct.
If they breathe wrong. But
they shave that beard and now they look like a fucking fish.
Right. And so you're like, well, how do I do it? And so it changes. But with that, guess what? We have to learn how to communicate those changes. Because just like we change and our desires change, so do our partners. So if we're in these heterosexual relationships and marriages, we're looking at it from the standpoint of, okay, what turned me on at maybe 20 when we got together, or 25 or 30 or whatever the case may be. At 40 plus, those desires change. But how do I then talk to my partner about the changes, right? But he's having changes too. You ain't the only one that shit you did with your tongue back 15 years ago might have been the shit. But now he like,
not no more.
Baby.
Really, I want to tell you, I ain't like that shit when you did it. But I'm afraid if I tell you,
open communication.
You ain't give me that no more if I tell you I ain't like it.
Because you just knew you was tearing it up.
Yeah, you were like, girl. And that's the thing. Nobody says I have mid sex. Nobody. Everybody got the best. The dick is long and strong. The pussy is wet and tight all the time, right?
Yes.
And so no one thinks that their sex could be enhanced in any way, right?
Wow.
And even when people come to my class, they say, I was doing a thing yesterday, and she says, lady says, I really want to come to your class. I'm not experiencing any problems. And I said, well, the class is not for people who have problems. I don't talk to people who have problems. Yeah. I said, this is about people who just want to learn something new. And the thing about it is, the more we evolve, right? The more we change. We have to be willing to explore and get curious. Yes. That's what makes the relationship work, and how sex can become great is because we haven't stopped exploring each other's bodies, and we've continued to we've remained curious about one another, getting to know who you are right now, doing check-ins and say, so, okay, what you like right now? Like, have you seen something that you like that turns you on, and maybe,
a good one.
That you're interested in? We see things. We're constantly bombarded with images daily.
Absolutely.
So is there something that piqued your interest? Is there something, did you hear something on a podcast that you're like, I want to try that? And so how do we have those conversations? When we stop having a conversation is when the relationship starts to die. So as long as we're able to have open dialogue, the relationships that last and are sustaining are the relationships where they're talking about sex openly, honestly, even when it's tough. Because it's not always going to be easy. People are dealing with all sorts of health challenges that impact how they show up sexually. It is. We're in this culture, especially American culture, we're on more antidepressants than any point in history. Like in any other part of the world, is Americans are on antidepressants. Antidepressants impact your libido. They impact how you show up sexually. They impact your sex drive tremendously. We're overweight. We're unhealthy. We're not working out. And so guess what? All of those create challenges on how we show up. We're not as confident. Y'all talked about confidence in the bedroom earlier, and being confident. That's the, sexiest thing you can wear. It's true that even as our bodies change, having babies, and we think we're going to snap back because we've seen it on the internet. And everybody's like, well, how she got abs? She just had the little baby 3 months ago. Right. She got abs. I'm still walking around with a orangutan belly. But that's what I felt. That was my thing. I said, oh my God. I said, why am I still looking like an orangutan?
Baby, I am 4 years past, and I promise y'all I am not lazy, but this baby weight is not baby weight no more. It's just toddler weight. It got to go. It got to go. Because what?
But you know what it does? Weight settles in on us differently, so we have to change, the things that we're doing. But it impacts how we show up sexually. It does.
You said something about when the conversation kind of stops, then the relationship dies. Do you think that relationships die when the sex ends? Like, what do you think about sexless marriages?
No. Sexless marriages are real. You have to think, even when people stop having sex, you have to ask why. Like, what is the thing behind it? Like, is there some resentment, some bitterness? Has trust been broken? It's hard for people to show up. Sex is one of the most vulnerable things you can do. It takes trust. It takes safety for us to feel like we can do all the freaky things, right? I got to feel like I trust you. I got to feel safe with you. I need to be vulnerable. And so when that trust is broken, there's been infidelity. There's been, someone has, mismanaged the finances. You all don't agree on parenting, on ways to rear the children. There's stresses from, aging parents. So all of those things impact how we show up sexually in our relationships. And so, if we can have those conversations when they happen, but the average couple, partner couple, they're having sex once a week, average 54 times a year. They're having sex 54 times a year. It's 52 weeks in a year. So you get a little extra, maybe on holidays and birthdays.
Vacation, maybe.
Yeah, got a little vacation. But averages is once a week. For married and partnered people. It's once a week. Because you have to think, if you're raising children and you're like sports and you're going here and work, y'all are still working. So sometimes that one day on the weekend where you like, okay, we both home, we feeling good, maybe the door is locked real good, right? You got the TV up or the music up real loud. then you get to have great sex. And then vacations, we get away from our routine, our environments, then great sex can happen, right? But most people get caught up on how much sex they're having versus the quality of the sex they're having. And so I don't care how much sex you're having, but when you are having sex, is a quality sex. Because you can have sex 7 days out of 7, 7 times. And it's like, it's just, why I could have had a V8. I could have been, watching Netflix, drinking wine. But if we're having quality sex, most women who are poll will say, I would rather have the best sex of my life once a month than have routine mediocre, boring sex every day. It's not the quantity for women, it's the quality usually.
So I know we were talking about, sex and marriage. What about sex after divorce? Feeling comfortable exploring sex again for me has been very challenging because I knew my ex for 21 years through and through, rooter and the tutor. I had, a couple of encounters post my divorce, and I just feel frozen. I'm like, I don't even know what to do with you. Like, because yes, you can show me your numbers and, your results. But it's like, I'm not with you every day. So whatever period of time that you had been tested, by the time you get to me, you could have still been, fucking whoever. Right. So I'm like, I can't even suck your dick like I want to.
Okay.
Back to that HSV.
You know what I mean?
Well, okay, this is the thing. Okay. Yes. Can sex be scary after you've been with her? Yes, absolutely. I hear it all the time, Karli. I'm just scared. I'm scared. There's too many things out here. It's true, right? Yeah. But I would say when you said something that was, like it was a light bulb went off. You said, it kind of having that experience. You said it was, it just stopped you. Like,
I'm frozen.
Frozen. Yeah. Frozen. So when I hear that, I hear how much time are you taking for yourself to learn the things that you truly want and desire? Meaning, how much time are you spending on self-pleasure? How much time are you actually...
I'm tired of masturbating, for the record, okay? The rose, I threw it away. The dildo, I threw it away because it was so emptying.
Okay. So we do not have to just use tools to stimulate us. So I know the rose culture,
I was just trying and my friend had recommended
it. They're great. I love clitoral stimulation, clitoral suction toys. I think they're really great because most women, over 76% of women require clitoral stimulation to orgasm, right? Wow. Nice. So only about 14% of women can actually orgasm off of penetration. So we think, that's what porn has done a disservice is we think pounding, more dick, more pounding is going to be the thing. No, she needs more foreplay. Yeah, she needs more foreplay. She needs more clit love, okay? Now,
you hear that?
Yes, you need more. Okay, it takes 17 to 37 minutes of foreplay.
Really?
For a woman to be ready for sex.
I know that's right.
So,
microwave. I'm ready.
I believe that to be
wet doesn't mean ready.
Okay.
Wet does not mean ready. So most people think wet is like, okay, he's ready to enter, right? No. So wet is just a signal that your brain sends to your body that says, I'm aroused. We can get wet throughout the day. I see something. Oh, he looks good. Maybe it's okay. Boom. Just like men get hard, we become wet, right? It's a signal from the brain that says I'm aroused. Wet does not mean ready for penetration. And we look at penetration like the Super Bowl of sex. It's like this is the culmination. This is like what we've been fighting for this whole time. We've been fighting for penetration. Well, really, no. Like, we look at that as like the Super Bowl, but it's not. If we actually take the time to really explore our bodies, there's so many more erogenous zones. And so, when we're looking at our neck, definitely breast play and nipple play, but also like the back of our knees, the smalls of our back, those are strong erogenous zones for us. And so when I say, you don't have to spend so much time necessarily having like the rose or, a vibrating dildo or something like that. What we could say is I'm taking time to just touch my body. I'm taking time to just get quiet. I want to touch the places where if I experience partner sex, then what does it look like for me?
Right.
How can I have a more enjoyable, pleasurable experience? And so that means taking time, whether that's like getting ready and taking a long bath, or, you got your candles lit, you got the incense or whatever is going, you got something that makes you feel good. You oiled up your body, you got your good little shea butter, whatever you got, girl, it's feeling good.
Coconut oil.
Yeah, shea butter, baby, coconut oil. Guess what? Then I get to take some time to rub on my body. I want to feel the feels. I want to feel what feels good for me. Okay. So then when I enter into a partner sex and a new relationship where someone is unfamiliar with my body, then I'm able to say, I love to be touched like this. Can I show you? I really like to be talked to like this. Can you talk to me like this? Can you do so it's really about having someone else, you being able to tell someone how to navigate new terrain on your body.
Absolutely.
But to do that, I have to feel comfortable that I ain't going to get no STI.
Yeah.
Okay? That's where I'm at.
Yeah, but you could have gotten a sexually transmitted infection from your husband.
Yeah.
So just because we're in a monogamous relationship, it doesn't mean our partner is monogamous.
That's
right.
True.
And just because we have this idea of what monogamy looks like, it doesn't mean our partner has the idea. Wow. And so years ago, there was a gynecologist who said this. I went to an event and she said, most married women come to me, they don't want to get tested. They're like, I'm married, I don't need to get a test. She said it keeps everyone honest. The test keeps everyone honest.
It's true, because I was one of those people, I don't need to get tested.
No, you definitely need to. Yeah, it's for you. Yeah.
It's so funny because my husband went to the doctor, right? At one point, and then I get, we get all their stuff. So I'm in my chart, and I see that he got an STD check, and I'm like,
excuse me,
bitch, I know this.
No.
And he was like, babe, I don't know. He told me to get it.
You do it.
And I was like, oh.
No, okay. Absolutely. And you need one too.
Yeah.
Constantly whenever you go to the doctor, when they say, do you want a full panel? I want a full panel STD check. Because STI check, because you want to be able to still be in your relationship and feel comfortable. Just because we're married, we automatically feel like everyone is honest and everyone is true and everyone is abiding by the same rules that I have in my head. We don't run off of assumptions. Yeah. Okay? We do not run our relationships off of assumptions.
Keeps everybody honest.
It keeps everybody honest.
You hear that, married people?
Testing keeps everybody honest.
Yes.
Right. So ways you can protect yourself during your explorative journey post-marriage outside of condoms are what? Are there any other ways to protect yourself sexually?
So condoms are just barriers, whether that's a barrier for the penis, but then you have dental dams, you have all sorts of things.
I can't find none.
Really?
I haven't been able to find any.
So a dental dam is what you would use basically to get oral sex on a woman.
Amazon, I don't know. I was like, what is this? It felt very clinical. It didn't seem pleasurable.
It is so imagine giving head on a condom. And then that's what you're gonna get too. So that's a way. So it basically.
I gotta go do some Googling.
Imagine. So dental dam. I know it takes all the fun out of it, guys. But you put this dental dam, and it's basically like giving oral through a piece of plastic.
Oh wow!
So that would be like a dental dam.
What about flavored condoms?
Flavored condoms are good. I mean, I think even there are a lot of married couples that still use condoms.
If they don't want to have babies?
Not just babies. Semen is a disruptor in the vaginal canal.
That is true.
It is true. A disruptor.
Depending on what they eating?
Yeah.
No, definitely depending on what they eating.
It is a huge disruptor. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that they're sleeping with someone else that disrupts your vaginal pH and your microbiome. Semen is just a huge disruptor in our bodies. And so even if you've been with that person and y'all are sharing bacteria constantly, right? It depends on different times and stages of your whatever you have going on internally. Right. So if you've just come off of an antibiotic or you've been experiencing back-to-back BV or urinary tract infections, you have to think about how semen is playing a role in that.
True.
And so when we think about semen, we think of it's natural, it's fine. I do with my husband, he's able to come in me. Sometimes that can't happen all the time.
Is it true that semen is a good source of protein?
Men will love to tell you as you swallow, I'm sure. They love to say
I'm
that.
not a swallower.
I mean, yes, they're just proteins. It's a part of our body. So yes, there is some protein there, I'm sure. I mean, it's not enough. It's not, I wouldn't say it's like
a good source.
I wouldn't say it's
Good
like
place to stay.
Putting it on my face, no.
I mean, all semen is not just good semen. It's not good.
That's true.
There's a lot
It's
of unhealthy
salty.
semen.
Yeah.
And so
Whataburger semen.
Yeah.
McDonald's semen.
And
We don't
men
want
aren't
it.
Pork
getting their
semen.
semen
Ew.
checked. Men
Yeah.
aren't getting their semen checked. And
Yeah.
so sometimes even when we think of like health issues or not being able to like conceive, we automatically start looking at the woman first.
Yeah.
But the quality of the semen is so important in the man because the body, the vagina, everything in your cervix, your uterus, it will reject bad semen.
Wow.
So that's what you think. It's only one makes it to the top, right? But all the other was rejected. Like it's rejecting the semen that is not good, it's not healthy, it's not gonna lie, it's not thriving.
Wow.
So yeah. It's a lot. Sex is a lot.
It sure is. It ain't just the big O.
No,
And we ain't
it's
even got-
not.
Listen. Okay, so sex in the golden years.
Okay.
What does, I guess my question with that is, how does what is the progression of our libido? Like at what point, and I know it's different for everybody,
Yes.
but like on average, at what point do women dry up, I guess?
Oh Lord. Okay. Well, let's not say dry up. So, okay, what would be considered the golden years for you?
Like 70?
Okay. Because I've heard people say like a lot younger than that. I'm like, well, what do you
I gotta
think
be older
people
than my
do?
parents because I know they still.
As they should be. So sex changes, right? As we get older with men, they're not able to keep an erection as long. And health impacts that, right? The quality of our life changes, how we show up sexually. But sex can be just as amazing, much better as we get older because our confidence has grown. We're more sure of ourselves. So we know what we like and what we want and how we want it. And so we're able to say that, right?
Yeah.
But most people think if you get older that I'm not going to enjoy sex, I'm not going to want sex. As long as we're here walking the earth, we're sexual beings. Like we're just sexual beings. Now, when menopause, perimenopause, and menopause sets in, it changes sometimes how we show up, our libido. Our vaginal canals don't produce as much mucus. So the vaginal lining begins to thin. So we're not able to get as wet, right?
Okay.
So we need enhancers.
Yeah.
Wetter sex is better sex. So
Yeah.
lube becomes very important for us. I mean, even at this stage in the game, your 20s, 30s, and 40s, most people think, oh, I don't need lube. I'm wet, Okay, but you should, because when we are wetter, when we are not wet, we increase the ability for lacerations and tears. Lacerations and tears cause sexually transmitted infections because that's how the bacteria and the viruses slip in. So wetter sex is better sex because it lubes us all around so that penetration, yes, is easier, but
it's not harming you.
It doesn't harm you as much. So that's why we say lubes are so important. It's at any stage in the game, right?
Wow.
So
Because we
that's
cut down.
That's really interesting. How we talking about perimenopausal? Because I'm 40. I had a hysterectomy, and at one point I turned into a Brillo pad.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very dry. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do to myself? I think I was 38 when I had my hysterectomy. And they wanted to give me estrogen cream. And I'm like, did you test my estrogen? My estrogen levels were good. So why is this happening? So I started herbal things. Like I started macaroon, slipperium, and okra.
Oh, yeah.
And then my ex was calling me super soaker. So I just want to say that for the mommies, if you are dealing with menopausal, concerns and things like that, herbs are out there.
Yeah. Wild yam is a great salve. Like you can put it on. It's called wild yam. Definitely herbs, especially if you're in perimenopause, menopause like Don Quay, black cohosh, things like that, help with like hot flashes and those symptoms. But primrose, but
my aunt does that.
Yeah, all of these help, right? But definitely okra water is extremely powerful.
It is.
Because if we think of okra and the little sliminess it creates,
slimy.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen in your body. And so okra water, it's so hard to get down, y'all. Don't let this. It's not easy to drink.
Me and my
It'd be like,
no, it's really not that.
No,
well, for me, it wasn't that.
It's thick. It's very thick to get down, but it works. It's thick.
We literally were looking up videos about this the other day, and what I saw the young lady do was she made the okra water, but then she kind of turned it into kind of like a tea. So she added some hot water to it, a little honey, and squeezed some fresh lemon in it.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, yeah, now that makes sense.
It's doable.
Yeah, I do it raw.
Just raw.
Period.
That's
you
okay.
Go, girl.
You gotta. It's a thickness to it.
It is like slippery elm. If you get the bark, it's thick too.
Because
but it
slippery
really works.
elm is actually in a lot of like natural lubes. Slippery elm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
well, I
in
ingest it.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. So it is time to put the kids to bed.
Okay.
We done talked about the children. We done talked about the relationships, baby. Now we about to talk about us.
Okay.
And we went on a couple of field trips this week, and the first place we went was to TNS Pole Studio. Okay, it's called Twirl and Shape.
Okay.
And they talked to us a little bit about the importance of confidence. There's that word again.
Yes.
And they taught us a little 1-2 on the pole. Okay.
My goodness.
So check this out, y'all.
What's going on, beautiful people? It's your girl, Fox Shantae.
And I'm Kanisha.
And this is Steady Mommin. We are here today at TNS Pole Studio with the amazing Miss Tasha. Miss Tasha, tell the mommies a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a mama and a grandma. What? Yes, 39 years old. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Sexy grandma.
Hey.
I just saw a post that said grandmas these days want to be called everything but grandma.
Right. Call me Noli.
I
Yeah.
love it.
I love that. So tell us a little bit about TNS Pole Studios, the things that you offer, and your upbringing.
For the studio? Okay. Well, TNS, we've been in business about 8 years now. This past April, May 8th. Started in like a small 500 square foot space and kind of like elevated from there with the community. I started because I was into the stripper environment. My sister was a dancer and I liked everything about it. They was like always strong, fitness, sexy, all those things. Wow. And I couldn't manage to get myself down to Atlanta for any of the classes at the time. So I was like, gotta be something in Gwinnett. And it wasn't. So I was like, aha.
I can do it.
You can't be the only woman in Gwinnett that want to
Right.
Spice it up.
Right. I got tired of going to Atlanta for everything.
Yeah, I know that's right. Smart.
What are some of the classes you guys offer?
We offer a variety of classes. Of course, pole is being our, meat and potatoes, but we do offer silks, lyra, flexibility classes, chair, floor. We added, of course, line dance and trail ride classes. Mat Pilates come in and stuff like that. So yeah, a little variety of classes for the adults. I won't just say women because we accept men too.
I love that. I love that. So where do you see your business going from here?
That's a good question. I just seeing growing, gathering more women. It's like a community. Yeah. So many friendships and bonds are created here.
That's beautiful.
So yeah, I just see it growing and being a staple here in Gwinnett.
What is your Instagram?
TNS_the house.
Now, as you all know, this episode 3 of Steady Mommin, is about sex. We're talking about sex and being sexy and getting, comfortable and confident within ourselves.
Absolutely.
So how would you tell another mom that may have lost herself in the beginnings of motherhood or marriage how to find herself, get started in her confidence journey, and define her sexy?
Good question.
I would say just start. So we all have that emptiness there. So I would just say just start and you find yourself along the way. Don't compare yourself to anyone else because everyone's different and unique, and just learn to love yourself as you go through the journey. I mean, that's what I did. I was not feminine at all. Leave it to me. I was tomboy and, playing basketball. Yeah. So I found myself along the way, just coming and being around the different people, taking the classes.
And you guys do, it's intensive work, y'all. Like, you don't have to know nothing. They gonna get you together, and by the time you're done, like, it's a whole thing. You have
It's a
classes,
process,
and then there's like a performance at the end.
Well,
like,
yeah, it depends on, your journey. Everyone's different. You have people who thrive to be performers and people who just kind of want to do it in the, in the background, in the comfort of their own, So it all depends. We have everything for everybody. Mm-hmm.
I love that.
So
I'll be
yeah, it's
honest.
definitely a process.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Coming in here, I just instantly felt like I belong. I'm
That's
ready.
why it's called the house.
Yes, I belong. So I love the ambiance, what you're doing here. It's a great spot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Tasha.
Yes.
We are going to show you guys a little something. She's going to teach us a little something, so stay
Pray
tuned.
for me.
Okay? Let's get back. So I really loved that, y'all. I really loved being in that studio. It just felt like the confidence was up. The energy was good. I am a bit insecure about my tummy. Okay. But even with that, like, I felt good out there.
Yeah. It was very nice.
Yeah. It's a very beautiful way to exercise if you don't necessarily want to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And then just be around other women that kind of have like a similar focus on finding their confidence within themselves.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful place. Like, there are women in there, all shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
It was pretty dope for me too. I've never been to a pole dancing class.
Really?
And I felt like a moth to a flame. I mean, the way I just was drawn to that pole.
She didn't even want to do it at first, y'all. She didn't want to do
I'm
it.
like, what the hell I'm gonna do?
Wow.
It was a great experience. Like, because earlier you spoke a little bit about how you felt like you lost yourself.
Yeah.
And I did so bad. Like, I feel like I am just now finally kind of starting to tiptoe into
back into you.
Girl.
Back into you.
It's so rough.
Yeah.
It's so rough. Like, it makes me emotional because you're not thinking that you're lost when you're lost.
Yeah.
You're just in emotions of being a mommy, being a wife. Like, I'm pouring into y'all. Meanwhile, I'm walking around looking like a little boy.
Yeah.
Over it.
No, she didn't.
No, I'm telling y'all.
I get it. I understand.
No cap.
But that's why we always want to tell our mothers the importance of self-love. We really want to pour into ourselves. I think that as a mother, we lose that easily.
Yeah.
We think we're nurturers. We think that that's our duty. It's just to give everything to everybody else and we forget us. And it causes you to be really resentful. And I know at one point I was very resentful towards my family because I'm like, y'all won't climb a speed bump for me, but I will go miles for you, you know? And so it wasn't until it really clicked to me that I need to pour into myself so I'm not resentful.
How did you pull yourself out, Karli?
I mean, honestly, number one, I go to therapy.
Which is great.
I talk to someone.
Yes.
I need an unbiased opinion in my life, but also, I go to therapy to deal with my family who doesn't go to therapy. But
Same.
Hello.
But no, I think it was getting back to the things that I really love and really enjoy. And so I stopped trying to say, well, I'm going to make time. I'm going to make time. I'm going to make time. And I just started to take time. And so when I stopped having this idea of making time and just taking the time for myself to work out, to go to a movie or to you take the time.
Oh, that's so
and
weird.
so we have some people, our family sometimes can be the takers in our lives. So that how do we show up and redirect and start to take some of that back for ourselves, so we can show up better. And so even for us to show up as sexual beings, to be creative, we have to have time alone, because for women it just nurtures our beings, you know. It nurtures the creativity, it nurtures us to actually incubate and create life. And so whether it's creating vision or creating things for our families, like we have to take that time for us to find the things that we love, that we enjoy, you know, getting back to you know, when people say like, oh, I need to get my nails done, or then like, well, I'm sorry, like we too old. This is now just a part of life. Like this is how I need to show up. My nails have to be done. You know, I talk with my hands. So it's not even like, this is not even like a spa day for me. This is just a part of maintenance, you know, it's getting my nails done. So you have to find the things that you know, like, this is not fun for me. This is just a daily maintenance. This is a weekly or monthly maintenance, whatever it is.
Like changing the oil.
Yeah. It's just, these are the things that have to get done. Now, if I want to take a spa day and go get a massage and all those things and the facials, great. But it's certain things that are just a part of maintenance at this point, you know?
And we have to do that.
Yeah.
We have to do that.
Because don't nobody, you know, we can all say we got the award for showing up as, oh, I look at me, girl, I look a mess, but I'm here. Like,
Time's out for
like,
that.
no
more of that.
No more of
look
that.
good when you show up. Like, I never felt like, I never wanted to make an apology for how I showed up into a room. I never wanted to say, I'm sorry, I look like, no, absolutely not. Like, it requires me to get up earlier. It requires me to take that.
I love that you give me the vibe of the girl that's never going to ask, am I overdressed?
No. I show up. If I want to wear my prom dress, I'm wearing my prom dress. You know? Like, because we don't get another opportunity, you know. That's what it is.
Thank you for giving not only us, but our viewers permission to stand in that, because it honestly makes me a bit emotional, because there was a time where I did truly lose myself. And it was just, I even asked my grandmother, I was like, what does it mean to focus on yourself? She really couldn't even answer the question.
Because they didn't know how to do it. You know?
And so hearing this, women, please take a hold of these gems. These are good.
We didn't, our moms didn't have the language. They didn't go to therapy or grandmothers. So they weren't talking to people. They just did, you know? And, you know, at a sacrifice. And so they sacrificed themselves. They sacrificed the things that they wanted to do career-wise to raise us as children. All of the things was a sacrifice for them. And I think, that is a part of it sometimes, you know? But it comes with a lot of us who definitely grew up in the church. We have been taught to believe that love is sacrificial. Because we grew up with the sacrifice of Christ. So we believe if we're not sacrificing, then it's not love. It's not love. My best
friend says this
and
all the time.
And that's not true.
It's not true.
What is it? She says there shouldn't be too much sacrificing, suppression, and there's another S. But I agree with that. Like, you can't suppress, like, I've suppressed who I am 1,000%. Okay? I'm no longer asking for a permission slip to be me.
You have to show up as yourself, because your kids will see that. Like, your daughter's going to see that.
That's right.
You know, our daughters and our sons, they see what love looks like through us. You know, they experience love through us. And so how do we give them the example? We want to show them example of hard work and, we got the house and the car and all of this, but how do we show them an example of what love looks like? Love for ourselves
first.
What does that look like? You know, because they're looking at us as the example. Your sons and daughters, they're going to pick a partner based off what they've seen and experienced through you all. And so how does that look? You know, as I always say, my son is going to somebody's therapy chair, I'm sure.
I know that.
He's going to make it there, I'm sure.
That is a good thing.
That's powerful.
You know, like, he going to make it there, I'm sure. You know what I'm saying? But what are you talking about when it get there? You know, let me try.
That's to be determined.
You know, we can't change it all. we not perfect. We do things like we mirror our upbringings. Like, we mirror that, and so
yes, and sometimes we're parenting based off what we didn't have versus what our kids need. So yeah, I'm sure my kids probably gonna need a chair too.
Yeah, they are, and that's okay.
And that's okay.
You know, my son asked me. I said I had therapy last week, and I have therapy on Wednesdays. And my son said something. He was home, and I said, "Oh, well, mommy has therapy, so I need like the hour." And he was like, "Well, what's therapy?" And I said, "Oh, well, I get to talk to someone." I said, who gives me I get to talk about problems. I said, but I get to talk about triumphs and things that brought me great joy. I said, but that she offers me an unbiased look into my life. And then I said, and she helps me navigate certain challenges, but certain things that are really great and things that I've worked through. And he's like, okay. Well, do I need therapy?
I love kids.
That is so cute.
I said, do you think you need therapy? He said, I mean, I could talk to somebody. And I said, okay.
I love him already,
And I said, well, if you ever feel like you want that as an option, I said, it's there for you.
Yeah.
It's there for you if you want it.
That's
and then
awesome.
the next morning he woke up, I guess he slept on it. And then he was like, he came in the room and he said, you know, I don't need therapy. I said, okay, well, there's that. There's that. That's all right too.
The door's still open.
It ain't no force, you know. Whenever you decide you want to talk to somebody, you can.
Right.
And you don't. That's all right.
It's for the asking.
Yeah. It's there if you want it. You know what I'm saying? But we ain't making you. But if you feel like you do, it's there.
I love that.
So I want to introduce a clip that we have, ladies. We had a very sexy conversation with a sex toy consultant. So let's check that out.
Welcome to Starship, where your pleasure is our business. Here at Starship, we offer an inclusive and accepting and confidence-building environment for you to learn about yourself and your sexual health in a safe and happy environment. We always strive to make sure that our customers feel super confident and super lovely when they leave, just loving themselves a little bit more. We want to make sure that our ladies come in and know that we're here to support them through every stage of their life. We know that with changes in your life come new babies and new ways to seek out pleasure. So we are here to educate you and try to show you the best way to do that. So here at Starship, we want to make sure that we're increasing your pleasure in any way that we can. Sometimes you're just not really in the mood. Your libido is a little bit lower than normal. We absolutely have solutions for that. We can either do herbal supplements like this or many other brands. We also have topical solutions to make you a little bit extra sensitive. That can always help increase your levels of libido, help you more ready to engage with your partner again. So along with a lower libido, sometimes comes a little bit of dryness or discomfort. At Starship, we always recommend the wetter the better. So we recommend all kinds of different lubes. We have them in all different price ranges for everyone who needs it. Sometimes women are hesitant to use lube. They think they don't need it, something like that. But we want to make sure that you're confident and comfortable when you're getting back into it. Lube is the easiest way to make sure that there's no discomfort and no pain during sex. Sometimes there's a little bit of a body confidence issue as well. We have plenty of options to make sure that you feel sexy and playful. We want to keep it sexy in the bedroom. Lingerie is not just for him. This is for us to wear and feel great about our bodies in every different beautiful shape that it's in. You created life and you're giving it too, so love it. So this in particular is a great toy to try and kind of meet yourself again. It has 3 options in it. We've got a thrusting internal dildo here. We've got a tapping massager on the outside, and then this is an air pulse. Just like the Rose, you know the one I'm talking about. This is a great option because it's 3-fold. It's 3 toys in one. It gives you an excellent opportunity to see what you like, see what you don't like, and I guarantee you if you come into a Starship and you let us know, we can help you find the next step. Sometimes with a new baby, there is a little bit of disconnect from your partner. You're moving through these different stages, you're trying to meet each other, your sleep schedules are all kind of bungled. So it is important to make sure that you're cultivating that intimacy with your partner still. Couples toys like C-rings are a great way to do that. Everybody gets a little bit of sensation and you kind of work together to make sure that everyone's having the pleasurable time that they want. Other great ways of cultivating that intimacy are using couples kits that we provide. Massage oils are awesome for that. And you can always come to your Starship, have a little date night. We can lead you in the right direction and send you home happy, I guarantee it. At Starship, it's our mission that you leave here feeling educated and confident about the purchase that you've made. All of our sales associates make sure that we have a good understanding and can help you find exactly the toy you're looking for and know exactly how to use it once you've left to make sure that you're having the best pleasure possible. It is a huge importance to us that we educate our customers as well as getting them the best idea. If you come into a Starship and you let the sales associate know what feeling you're looking for or what kind of vibe you're going for, I guarantee they'll be able to find you something exactly in line with what you need.
While we were there, having sexy talk about these beautiful toys, we thought about our beautiful guests. So we got you a gift.
Oh my God! You open it here and say this.
You can open it.
Okay. I love toys. Thank you. Oh my God. I love this.
These are so
Okay, Lucky Sex. These are scratch tickets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get a
Where am I
hubby.
matching?
Get a
Okay, I
coochie
like
coupon.
this.
Yes.
A coochie coupon. Okay. Oh, the lipstick vibe. Oh, I love these.
Yes.
These are great. You can put them in your purse.
Yes,
Very much
so
on the
discreet.
go. Love that.
date night,
Okay.
real cute.
Love that. And then what is this?
That
It's a
is a
strawberry.
candle.
Oh, this is a candle.
So
Yes.
the wax melts into massage oil.
Oh, great for date night.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I love this. Thank you, ladies. I love that.
Trying to get you the anniversary 20.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I love that. I love that. I
Yes.
love that.
So
No,
you
that's
said that
great.
you love toys, and I love that because I do too.
Okay.
Me too. Well, I
Well, we
threw
know.
mine away.
You're
I threw
out.
mine away.
You're taking a toy break.
I am. I need the real thing.
I just feel like
Okay, yes.
yeah, for sure.
And the big ones.
Okay. The big one. Okay. Big toys or a big person?
Big dick.
Okay.
a real one.
Okay.
A real big dick from a man.
Okay. So when we say big dick, what is a big dick to you?
A good 8 or 9 is very good for me.
Oh my God, I wish I would have bought my bag of toys. Okay. So I use a lot of visuals in my classes. So most people think they want a very big dick. Most people want like a big dick. Okay, cool. The average size penis is 5 inches erect. 5. Carly, they be like, oh, Karli, black men. Okay, 5.4. Averages for black men, which is erect, right?
Wow.
Now, when you show people in classes, like the sizes, I have 5, 7, and 9. 5, 7, and 9. Most people are like, okay, I think the 7 is more of what I see. I think I see a 7. I was like, okay.
Like a
the
7.
5, really when we think of like a 5-inch, think of the size of like an iPhone. The size of
The
an
Pro?
iPhone. Not the Pro. The Pro, not the Max.
Let
Okay.
me pull it up, girl.
So, that's a regular iPhone.
Girl, I don't know, it's old.
Okay. So usually like the size of my
That may
iPhone
be
is about the
nice.
average size of the penis. It's about 5 inches.
I don't want that one.
Okay. It's not the size.
Okay.
It's not the size. Most of us get, we think about size. Now, there are some people who are like, I am a size queen, Karli. I know it. I've measured the dicks. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I've done that.
Yeah. But most people aren't measuring dicks, right?
Okay.
So it's not the size. It really is. It's not the size of the boat. It's the motion of the ocean. It's really what they know how to do with it. When I've talked to women in classes, most women are polled, they say, actually, it's been the smaller dicks that have been better for them. What? Not that they were they had the biggest impact, like size, But when most men end up showing up maybe a little smaller, they end up focusing on other areas that make them better lovers versus bigger dicks sometimes can feel like.
I see. I don't know. I'm probably the 7-incher because like I'm in between. Too much dick is just I'm not about to deal with
It's
this. 'Cause
uncomfortable
most men
and
don't
painful.
know what to do with it.
Yeah.
It's like they just show up like, here's the gift.
Yeah.
And then they tear you up. And I'm too valuable for all of that, baby.
So when we think of like penetrative sex, when we think of penetration, most women need clitoral stimulation. So 76% of women require clitoral stimulation.
Right.
Yes.
But the other percent, like 14% of women who will orgasm through vaginal penetration, right? When we think of G-spot penetration and what usually makes women orgasm, it's really 2.5 inches up inside of the vaginal canal, right? 2.5, 3 inches up inside. So here, you're really here using this motion, hook, and then you're feeling that G spot, right? When we start ramming, when we think of like, oh, porn has done a job where we think, oh, I got to give her a lot of dick. Or, you know, the harder I go, the better.
Yeah.
Not true. It's a misconception. Right. Because now we're pushing up against the cervix. We're now having this uncomfortable sex, right? And so when women are usually like,
running. If she's running,
she's not enjoying it. It's uncomfortable. There's a pain, right? And there's a fine line between pain and pleasure.
It really is a
fine line. But we don't require a whole lot of dick. When we think of the vaginal canal, 2 to 3 inches. When we become aroused, the vaginal canal is expanding. It's going to be able to, when we say take more dick, because now we've gotten 8 inches, 8, 9 inches where it can expand to then get warmer, wetter, and ready for sex. Okay. So now, you probably like, oh, it feels good when there's more dick, but it may not be 9. If I show you my big 9-inch, most people are like, okay, that's too much.
Okay,
that's
no.
So sometimes when you look at a 9-inch penis in like real life, you're like, oh, that's a lot. Like when you see them in dildo form, you're like, and then you put it right here, like on your, like, that's how it looks. Okay, no, that's too much. So you're thinking,
I
like,
digress, but I'm 6 foot. I'm gonna need you to fill up my tank.
But then you might not be wrong, friend, because
you might not be.
Like she said, it expands.
Yeah, so you may be a person who's like, you know what? I do have a larger vaginal canal where I do enjoy a bigger dick.
That.
No, that's not a bad. It's not a bad thing. I think that's also a misconception, except that we have to be like very tight, you know, that we also have, like, you know, we're not looking to have, you know, a very small vaginal canal because we want to be able to enjoy sex. So tighter sex sometimes is just not it's very painful. So it's not enjoyable. So no, you don't have I'm not saying that.
You ain't getting a big cat.
But we just want to make sure we're aroused to receive the penis when we are interacting with it. We want to be aroused enough to just receive it.
Understood.
Whatever size it is.
Okay.
And ladies, you can use these toys to help get you aroused back to the 14 and to how many minutes?
So like 17 to 37. I always say like there's usually like that 15 to 35, 40 minutes, depending on the person, 20 to 30 of foreplay.
I'm going to say this, and I don't know if you ladies can feel me on this, but I like to take control of my orgasm. So I like to orgasm first.
Okay.
So like get the first one out the way and the rest of them going to come rolling.
Follow. Okay. Yes.
So I like to bring my toys to the bedroom so that we can get this one out, knock it out.
Yes.
And then I like to do it or have it when it's, you know, I got the penetration. I think that just...
So you require penetrative sex to orgasm and you require clitoral stimulation.
I like both.
Okay, both. Yeah. So when we talk about incorporating toys into the bedroom, what's great is that when we have like a vibrator or a clitoral suction toy, like a rose or something like that, which is, you know, very popular. When we think about it, we want to place our vibrator, our like wand or something that is vibrating or suction on our clitoris, like on the clit while we're getting penetrative sex, like while we're having sex. And then that enhances the experience.
Yes, it does.
So whatever position we're in, we're taking that toy, you're in control of your orgasm, you're in control of your pleasure. And so you're saying, okay, I really like when I'm riding and I have the toy, like I have the vibrator on while I'm riding, or he's hitting it from the back and I now have my toy where I'm having clitoral stimulation and he's penetrating me from the back. There can be a number of ways in which you incorporate the toys, but this is a great way for us to still have like clitoral stimulation while we're having penetration. Okay.
Now y'all know I've been dick deprived and all of this sex talk got me hot, child.
Let's talk about it, baby.
Definitely, I love incorporating toys into the bedroom with couples.
So when it comes to women, what are the types of orgasms that we can have?
So you have like your vaginal, your clitoral, and then you have like your anal orgasm.
I did not know that.
So so most people think, like, they're like, wait a minute, Karli, if I have anal sex, I can actually have an orgasm. I'm like, yeah. You really can't. You have to really think how close the body is. Like when we're thinking of like how close the vaginal canal is, the clit, the vaginal canal, and then the anus, right? Everything is so very close. We're not taking a road trip to get there. Right? Like, it's there. It's right there. So when we think of anytime we're having penetrative sex, even anal sex, we can feel like how you can actually feel certain things, that you feel the sensations in your vaginal canal. Like your vulva has that experience. And so even when we're thinking about different ways in which we're stimulated, you know, a lot of women I hear over 40 start to enjoy anal sex more. They start to enjoy anal sex more after they've gotten a little older, and their body has changed. And
is it because their pussy is wore out?
No! No!
By 40, we had a lot of road trips.
No!
I'm just teasing.
No! The pussy is very resilient.
Yes, it is. Yes, she is.
She's a resilient girl, you know. And that's also a misconception. I've seen this like on, you know, these men, they will post like, they'll say something like, oh, she slept with so many people, so she's worn out. Or that's not true.
Or they just fall into it.
Yeah, they fall into it. That's not true. We all come in different shapes and sizes, right? So the things that feel good in this person, you feel like we're all like, our vaginal canals are not the same.
Yeah.
They're not the same. So we're shaped differently. We feel different. Someone's cervix sits lower. Someone sits higher. Someone like, it can all feel different for us. So we can have sex with the same man.
And have a different experience.
And have a completely different experience. Yeah. You may feel like this man was top tier, A1, grade A sex, right? You're like, this is the best sex of my life. I could have sex with that same man and be like, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Never again. Because
that was trash. It was garbage. So
throw the whole man away.
Just throw it away. So the experience is different because sex is energy too. So it's not just size, it's energy. Yes. And so the energy that we feel with one person is going to be different. So my experience with the same man, and you're like, girl, socks knocked off, wig turned back. No.
I'm so glad you said that, because before I orgasm, I take my mind to a certain place. Like I get affirmations going in my head. I just feel like I'm closer to something that can hit me. Because baby, I'm beautiful, I'm strong. I'm amazing.
Because you know,
I say affirmations to him.
Yeah. That is a great time because sex is such an energy exchange. So when we're looking to, we're cultivating an experience with our partner. You know, that's why sex is, you know, when they talk about, you know, the spirits and all these things, like, like the ties that we have, because sex is energy. So when we think about the experience, like, can it be casual? Yes, it can. There's no judgment there. But can it be something that is extremely, you know, ritualistic and harmonious? And we're exchanging vows while we're having sex. Like there are so many things that happen because of the spiritual nature of sex. And so when we know our bodies and we know the experience, like, we can call on things. We can say, this is what I want. This is what I desire. This is how you're expressing love to that person. And so when you say you're affirming, it's because you're saying, I love you so much. This is what I want for you. This is what I desire for you. This is how much I care for you.
To come, baby.
Yeah, I desire.
I'm about to do that.
Because when people think about magnificent sex, you know, what makes sex so great, right?
Yeah.
When people describe great sex, it's not that they say necessarily, oh, the head was so good or she knew how to ride dick the best. It's because the sex took them to an otherworldly experience. It was soulful. It was, they were able to transcend. It was, you know, otherworldly. It was, it made them feel like they were taken to another space and time. Time didn't exist. So when we think about how people describe the best sex of their life, it really is not. They're not describing the actions of sex.
It's true. No,
they are
that
describing,
is true.
the experience of sex.
I can see that.
The freeness, the playfulness, the the eroticism that comes with being able to experience someone. So it's not, most people get it twisted where they think it has to be performative. That it has to be this way, this time, like it has to be in this order. No, because even when people lose the use of their limbs, they have to reimagine what sex looks like.
Wow.
So when our bodies go through changes, we have to reimagine what sex looks like. And so that's what becomes important. It's not the penetration. It's not the Super Bowl of sex.
Yeah.
It's how we think about sex. So it's how someone can give you this ultimate divine pleasure, sometimes without even having to insert anything or put their mouths on you. Like it really is how you frame sex. And so when people talk about sex, I don't look at sex as just penetrative sex or oral sex. I look at, what does sex look like for you? What is the type of sex you truly desire? Because if our bodies change, we're no longer able to have penetrative sex. How do we reimagine what sex looks like?
I love that. And I mean, I think that's the reason why I'm so stagnant when it relates to me having new sexual partners, because I really am like...
You want a different stimulation.
No, I'm just afraid of diseases.
Well, okay, and
I'm just sorry.
Let's go back to that. And I know that we cannot have great experiences when we are fueled by fear. And so what keeps...
I'm in Atlanta.
I know we are here.
And you married. Both of y'all's married.
Listen, I'm married, but I'm a realist.
Yeah.
I'm married, but I'm a realist.
Understood.
And I know how relationships change over time. And I know how things happen. And things can happen and quickly in a relationship.
True.
So you may think it's one way one day, and then it's
whimsical.
And so you have this. We get caught up in this belief system that it's going to stay this way forever. And so when we operate in a sense of like, I'm a realist. As much as I love this person, I don't want my love to feel like bondage with this person. So if it ever changes, then I have to be okay with that, because I love you enough for you to then go and grow, right? But we're all in here. We're all dealing with the same Atlanta world.
Down low brothers.
But guess what? That's been since the beginning of time.
It has.
So
I've been
all
so
been
delayed since
experienced.
2003. So I'm like re-emerging like a slingshot in 2025.
Okay, so
and I'm like,
don't operate in fear.
I'm hearing you. Yeah.
Truth and love. That's what we go for, right? Truth. So we operate in the things that we know that we can control, but we know we can't control anyone else.
Right.
So guess what? I know that I can ask you, hey, have you been tested? Hey, have you done X, Y, and Z? Hey, what does your sexual health and wellness look like, right? I can ask you that. Now, if he lies, or if this person lies to me, but I've chosen to believe it, like, what can you do with that? All we can do is say, okay, if I'm engaging in sex, this is what I can do for myself. I can choose to have a barrier doing sex. I can make sure I have condoms, which is still effective, right? I can still do that, right? I can still make sure your oral health is intact. You brush your fucking teeth, okay? Brush your teeth. Take care of your mouth, okay? Because when we're thinking about bacteria, that's a way to transmit bacteria. It's right through your mouth, right?
Absolutely.
So we're thinking about that. If we're doing finger play, make sure your nails are trimmed. Make sure they're clean.
Wash your fingers.
Wash your hands. Wash your hands before sex.
Yes.
Because if fingers are going to be going in and out and moving around and in your mouth and doing things, guess what? That's a great way for bacteria. And those nails, they're going to create little tears. And then we're more susceptible to infection and disease. Okay. So don't be scared.
Okay.
There is so much great love for you to experience. Don't be scared.
You can't lock yourself in the closet. I won't let you. So
don't be scared.
Because I was headed in there.
No, don't be scared. Now operate with the level of discernment, yes, but not scared. Don't be scared. There's so much for you to experience. There's so many people who are honest and truthful who want a new relationship, and they want to please you.
Speaking to a girl.
They do.
Point to this lady, Karli.
They want to please you, and you deserve to be pleased. And you deserve to have new love. And that's going to come.
And I look forward to that.
And you deserve to suck the dick the way that you desire
to. And rub the balls while I'm at it.
That's what we want. That's what we want. But we're not going to be scared. We're not going to be scared.
Okay.
Oh. Well. we were not scared to go into the streets for one of our field trips too, ladies.
Okay.
We went down to the Beltline and talked to people about their thoughts, their desires, their do's, their don'ts in the bedroom.
Wow.
Check this out.
Hey y'all, it's Kenesha with Steady Mommin, and we're out at the Beltline asking some dicey questions. How old were you when you lost your virginity?
I was 17.
I was 17.
Junior year of high school.
11 years old.
Probably 15 years old.
I was 14.
When you're in the bedroom, are you the type of person that's in control of your pleasure, or do you give that responsibility to your mate?
Certain positions I want to control mine, then certain positions I want to control hers.
I'm totally in control right now, and I love that for me.
What are your must-haves in the bedroom, and what turns you on?
Really, intellect.
Consent, of course.
She got to smell good.
Consent is a must-have.
Hygiene is a must. The fan got to be blowing to get real hot in there.
What are your absolute no's in the bedroom? What are you just not gonna do?
If you're somebody that doesn't believe in getting tested, which I have met people that are like that, then we can't go anywhere.
Booty stuff. I'm so sorry if that makes me boring. I can't.
No ass. Like as far as my ass, no, don't touch it, don't look at it, don't kiss it.
Nothing like, overly freaky. You ain't peeing on me. No golden showers.
Yeah, no animal noises. I don't want. I'm fucking a human, not a giraffe.
Is there anything you wanted to try that you haven't tried yet?
I want to try a threesome.
But I think probably the only thing I haven't done a lot of is like use more toys like handcuffs and things of that nature. I wouldn't mind trying stuff like that.
Yeah, I want to try the little trapeze shit. You know how they put them up and then the legs be on the swing and then it be like against the door or some shit you can hook up yourself and you just applying that pressure. That type shit I'm trying to be on.
What are the do's and don'ts? What are people saying?
So I really enjoyed the fact that a lot of people were saying that they're pretty simple when it comes to sex.
Okay.
Like the do's and the don'ts were really simple. Like there was, most people didn't want no butt play.
Okay.
Like that came up a lot.
Did you talk to a lot of black people?
Yes.
We talked to black people and we talked to
white people, yeah.
Okay.
And from the LGBTQ community, excuse me.
Oh.
We had some good conversation.
And what did they say about butt play?
She
They didn't
wasn't
break it
into
up.
it.
Oh, yeah, the young lady.
She wasn't into it.
it. Yeah.
Oh,
She
okay.
wanted it pretty simple. And that's what I found
Okay.
a little intriguing. And also for me, I was like, to hear them say consent. A lot of the conversations was consent. So I was like, well, that's really responsible.
Yeah.
We also asked, one of the first questions was, how old were you when you lost your virginity?
Okay.
Okay. A lot of people were pretty young. I was 15.
I was 11.
Wow.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah. I told my daddy not to watch this. So I ain't even going to look at the camera.
Yeah, okay. I was 18.
Okay.
Good for you.
I was 18.
Yeah.
But see, I have been a sex educator.
See?
And I was a peer educator.
Mhm.
I was a peer educator. So, I was very, I was lived in the abstinent movement at church. But yeah.
Nice.
So when I had sex, I was
the
very
porn,
ready.
And that was really her fault, too. I'm just playing, Mom.
Okay, wait, okay. Well, okay, so now I have a question. So
Okay.
when someone says they were 11 and had sex for the first time, was it someone older?
He was 12.
Okay. Okay, and what was that experience at that age?
For me, he was doing his thing and I was just imagining what I had saw on porn or, on some of the shows that I've seen people having sex. So I was looking for that. And I didn't get that.
Right.
At 11.
At 11, but
Wow.
we kept going. We kept having sex or whatever and not just for that one session, but multiple times after that. And then it got better. And then I was like, okay, so I'm ready.
At 11.
Yeah.
11, 12,
So, okay,
13,
at 11,
14.
was this the first person that you kissed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Yeah.
did it led to sex very quickly?
It did.
Okay. So y'all kissed the first time and then it led to sex.
Not that first
Okay,
session. No.
okay.
We were in middle school, so we would see each other about a locker. So we had a lot of different
Wow.
winks and stuff like that. So
I'm always so curious when people say they were so young. 'Cause that is young.
Yeah.
And then your children are not sexually active.
Mm-mm. My
Yeah,
20-year-old,
very
she only
good.
had sex once. She told me about it. That's why I was like,
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad my kids ain't like me. Because
It always happens like that.
yeah.
All the people I know
Now, my
got sex
son,
early.
I don't know
their
about
children
him.
don't.
He is the most, he
Interesting.
resembles me the most.
Really?
He resembles me the most out of all of my children. He's the most colorful. He's the most witty. He's a negotiator. Like,
love that.
He's crazy.
He's so awesome.
He is awesome.
She has such amazing kids.
Thank you.
She really does.
Now,
Thank you,
15.
Yeah. I was. The thing about it is, I had tried a couple of times prior to it actually working. Like, it just wouldn't go in. I guess I didn't know what I was doing. They were a little more experienced because I tried to lose my virginity to 2 people.
Okay.
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 To 2 of them.
I did. I was ready for it to go. I was
like,
like, oh my God. So
Really?
after
Drop
it
the
finally
hymen.
did, I was like, oh, okay. All right, well, hey.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I don't know. I just always kind of remember just always being a very little like sexual being.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't
Me
know why
too.
or where that came from.
Me
Like,
too.
Most people are, yeah.
yeah, I
Very
wasn't. I didn't have
curious.
any like negative sexual experiences as a child.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so
I wasn't abused or anything. Because somebody asked me, like, were you ever sexually abused? Because you're hypersexual. And I'm like, no. I don't know why I'm like this. I'm
Yeah.
always, and I'm not an info. Like,
Yeah.
I've looked at the definition. I'm
Yeah,
good.
no, you're fine.
You know? But for the most part, I just always been like, let's go.
Wow.
So over the times, when you lost yours, that had to be like a conscious decision.
I was
You
very conscious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it. But see, I was already at that, like when I was young, I still explored my body. Like I knew, like, you know, I grew up watching like Real Sex, like on HBO. Like
Me
I
too.
learned so much. Oh, I was so
What was
intrigued
the
by
old
Real.
white lady?
Dr. Sue.
Mhm.
Dr.
I
Sue,
didn't
she
know
was
that.
like the OG of like, you
Yes.
know, her Dr. Drew back in the
Yep.
day. Yeah. Sex radio. Yeah. So I was always listening. I was always very into my body. But I knew when I wanted to have sex, I wanted it to be a decision that I made. That I made very clear, very conscious.
Mhm.
And so I didn't have sex until I got back from my freshman year of college.
Nice.
Yeah, freshman
Very
year, come home
good.
from college. That I was just like, I was
He
ready.
was ready.
I knew it. I was very clear on my decision making skills, you
Mhm.
know. And yeah, I mean, did that take away you making like bad choices in
Mhm.
sex? Like, no, you know. Once it started, I was like, oh, this what I've been waiting for. Where the niggas at?
Where the niggas and
But-
shit?
Let me reintroduce myself.
My name is.
But you know, like I was not having sex, right? I wasn't having intercourse, you know, but I was still very much like, you know, I was into my body. I was into like, I had a boyfriend, all
Nice.
those things. I just didn't want to have sex, right?
Mm.
But I don't look at that as a bad thing. I think kids are going to have sex. You're
Yeah.
not stopping that, like
Yeah.
at all. So it's just preparing them.
I would wait it. Like if I could go back
I would have
and change
definitely
it,
waited.
I would have
But you know
waited.
what?
Yeah.
And that's why I ask the questions, because I always find when people have sex at certain ages,
Mhm.
they always feel like they would have waited.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that.
See,
Yeah, I
don't-
would've waited
I
at
have
least
no
till
desire
18,
to like
yeah.
go back and change or
Yeah.
change my first experience. Like
yeah.
I can honestly say I've had very good sex.
I know that's right.
Very good sex
Yeah.
over my years, like very good, you know?
So speaking of the good sex
Uh-huh.
and all of the knowledge we have racked up over these years, ladies, can we talk best practices?
Okay, best practices with what?
Like, okay, so like, I think that in my best practice arsenal is Kegel exercises.
Oh, I love Kegels.
Yeah,
You can just do them
do
just
it right
sitting.
now.
Yeah. I love Kegels.
Why
Yeah.
do we do them?
Because
ladies
it
that
just
don't know.
it helps to strengthen your pelvic floor. Like it helps to strengthen, especially once you have children, that pelvic floor becomes very weak, right?
Yes.
And so when we're looking to have that sensation of like stopping urination, that's what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
That's like basically your Kegel exercises. And so when we continue to do them, it's like taking the pussy to the gym. Okay.
There you go.
It's like the gym. Okay.
Mhm.
So we're lifting weights, but instead of like lifting weights, we're actually creating, you know, that muscle memory and creating, we're strengthening the muscles, you know?
For the ladies who do enjoy practicing Kegel exercises or who are curious about it, there's literally an app for it. I don't know what the exact app is, but it'll tell you when to
Hold and release. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
check
it's
it out.
really like to build the strength, you're gonna take some deep breaths in. And then release, and then you're gonna take a deep breath in. But when you take that, you're gonna hold. So you're gonna have that sensation of like stopping urination, like that feeling. And then you're gonna hold. and then release.
I love that
And
we
then
on
you're
here doing
gonna hold,
Kegels, ladies. Come on, Steady
and then
Mommin.
release. And then you're going to hold and you're going to release.
Okay.
So it's a series that you're going to do. And then at the end, you're going to hold for a long time. You know, you're going to count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, release. So it creates more strength. Yeah.
Hey, I love it.
So then when we think about, you know, when we're having penetrative sex, you know, we're thinking about doing those same exercises.
I call it hugging. Just give it a little. Show it a little love.
Hugging it.
Yeah, it's a hug. So when they feel like, you know, they tell you like, you know, you have to literally like you tighten and release. You're gonna hold it because then that's gonna create a different level of sensation on the penis.
What about some sex positions that are best practices or things that make it easier
to orgasm?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, and I know this is like the focus of sex is like kind of like the orgasm, the big O. Like if we're not orgasm, we're not having great sex. Not true.
Not true.
So you can have great sex, a great sexual experience, and you may not orgasm, right? So I like to tell people focus on the pleasure, right? Okay. Focus on the things that actually bring you pleasure in the experience. You know, you may not have an orgasm every time, and then you have people who like orgasm multiple times when they have sex. Like they're gonna have sex and they're gonna orgasm 5, 6, 7, 14, 30. Like, you know, like they do, you know? And you have someone who like, it's just hard for me to get to a 1, you know? And then you have someone like, I've never orgasmed, you know? And that's a thing. Like, and sometimes we think of like people not being able to orgasm, think about, you know, stressors or blockages that we may have, not being in your body. So fully embodiment, like you're not being fully present in the experience sometimes, not being able to vocalize the things that you truly desire about sex and what brings your body pleasure. Sometimes we stop ourselves when we feel like we're going to orgasm, but we stop. We're like, oh no, is this right? Does it feel? And so there's certain things that we can work on, right? If we're having trouble, but certain positions work. Certain positions work better for some people. Like missionary works really great for some people with the legs up. You know, you're more tilted, your body is more tilted, and then there's more penetration, depending on the size of his penis. If he has a hook, you know, like there may be a different level of sensation, right? When we think of like, if we're thinking about like doggy style or getting a hit from the back, sometimes we think about, I'm being on all fours, I'm throwing it back, you know, I'm like, but sometimes laying flat on your stomach, very flat, and then having him penetrate you from behind is going to create better G-spot sensation. So you're going to have an ability to orgasm or squirt. Yeah.
And then like, ladies, you can use the pillow, like in that same position. If you put the pillow under your stomach, it allows the penis to penetrate you at a different angle.
So always, like, there's so many things. We can use pillows. They have different, like, sex toys where you can actually, they're meant for, like, the Liberator and things like that. Where they're like, look like little, like cushions or, like, cushion. Yeah, they kind of, like, form together like Legos, like, different pieces. You can buy a whole set. It's like a little chase loud. But certain little building blocks that they have are meant for different positions. So it makes it easier, like, if they're sitting back, you're riding them. Or if you're hitting from the back and you have more support under your stomach.
I gotta get out.
And even when you think about like riding, you know, and what works better for a lot of women is just like clitoral stimulation. And so like that grinding feels good for women. More bouncing feels good for men.
And then I think another best practice for riding, ladies, if you don't necessarily have the Megan Thee Stallion knees, that's okay. Because you can try to do it on your toes.
Yeah.
It makes it a little easier. You can get a chair.
Yeah. I love chair you can get a chair. Like definitely get a chair. Or you're going to position his body more of like almost like a scissor, you know, like you're scissoring. So you're lifting up his leg, your leg is underneath. So then you're able to grind. If those knees aren't working, you're able to get in and you're able to enjoy dick in a different way.
I love
so
dick.
It's really
I do love dick.
So it's really just figuring out what works for you.
That's
Okay.
true.
So every position, whatever works for Fox may not work for you. Whatever works for Kanisha may not work for you.
That's
Whatever works
true.
for Karli, it might not work. But you figure out what works for you and just take a hold of that pleasure instead of thinking about what works for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Well, I do love pleasing a man, and as y'all can tell, all I've been caring about is sucking dick, right?
Yeah, okay.
So I will tell you, ladies, when it comes to sucking dick, you want to keep it wet. You know, they
Wetter
love
sex is better sex.
wetter sex is better sex. They love when you rub on them balls, and for as I know, like men that are comfortable with you, you know, sliding your tongue around the gooch area, they like that too. You know, I just want to make sure y'all got that. And then also, I found out that they have numbing spray.
Yeah.
For gaggers?
For women that are gaggers.
Women that are gaggers.
It's just a little spray and it'll
It's a little
numb the
spray,
back of
like
your throat.
like a throat coat, something like that, which helps.
I thought the men like when you gag a little bit, make them feel bigger.
Yeah, but you know what? I think yes, they may feel bigger, but you have some women who have like really bad gag reflexes where they actually vomit.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, they actually vomit while giving head. So it's
that's horrible.
Yeah, and then I have literally heard this, and it's still like, oh wow, you know, some women just do not give head. They just are not.
That's true.
Giving head. There's some men who are just not giving head.
Such a
and
shame.
then you have some women who are like, I really don't enjoy head. Like, I don't enjoy receiving head, so I'm really not looking at you giving it. Or
that was me before I got with my husband. I said, well, damn, I guess everybody else just was doing it wrong.
Yeah, because I'm not a big fan of it either. And I realized I didn't have the best eater either.
Yeah, sometimes when we say maybe we don't like something, we didn't enjoy it with the person. They didn't really hit the spot that we were looking for them to hit. Yeah. And so, then we have the experience of someone else. Like, this is completely different. Yeah. So that's why I say, don't knock something, you know, off the list.
Right.
You know, you just may need more time. Yeah. But yes, definitely giving head, you know, I will say this. Culturally, American culture is very much sloppy toppy, right? Mm-hmm. Very sloppy, very wet. Yeah. But then ask people, you know, ask them how they like their dick sucked, you know, because everyone doesn't like their dick sucked the same.
That's true.
You know, everyone doesn't like,
let's
you
figure
know,
this out together.
And that's the thing when we're very conscious of each other's pleasure, you know, that's when we have great sex. When we're very like open to pleasing each other, that's when sex is phenomenal.
Guide each other to the pleasure zone.
And give them affirmations.
Yes.
For sure.
People love affirmations, but you know what? That's like a praise kink.
That's what it is.
It's a praise kink.
I have never heard of that, but I've learned from both of you ladies. I mean, honestly, the questioning your partner, like, what have you seen that you may want to try? I really, I'm going to take that in my walk.
So, back to a little bit of foreplay. I want us to chat a little bit about how foreplay starts like outside of the bedroom.
Yes.
Like foreplay can be an all day thing.
It absolutely is.
For sure.
It can be you cutting the grass.
Very much foreplay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You did the dishes and the laundry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Foreplay. That's
most
my
women love an act of service, a foreplay. Like, he did something nice for me. It was thoughtful. Yes. You know, he took something off of my plate, you know?
Yeah.
And so then that's like,
language.
that's a turn on, you know, for women who seem to carry a lot. But I think even with our men, you know, maybe sending a sexy text, like, you know, I can't wait to suck your dick when you get home. Or I can't wait, you know, I've been thinking about you all day. You know, maybe it's snapping a little pic, send it to him. Whatever that is, whatever makes you feel comfortable, right?
Even non-sexual touching.
Yes.
It's good. Like, y'all talking about your days and just, you know.
Just a caress, a warm. And that's the thing. I think some people don't. We only look at intimacy as leading to something. And we're not looking at the intimacy that really just brings us closer together in a relationship. And so, when we have like hugs during the day, like that just takes you to another level. Like, sometimes we just need the human touch. We just need to feel connected. And so when we feel that, we're like, oh my God, I just needed that. And then you're like, well, nigga, wait a minute. But how did my ass get into it? How did you know what I'm saying? Well, wait a minute. How you done hug me? That's
come on now.
I thought we just doing a little secure about me. You know, now I'm turned into something else.
Because they will. They will.
But
how did my ass get included?
Oh, girl, it's hoodie and it feels so good, right? I think it's so many things that we do throughout the day that lead to the turn on for later, that we can incorporate.
Ladies, this has been a very sexy, very stimulating, very educational, amazing show. Karli, thank you for joining us.
Oh, man, thank you for having me.
Please let the mommies know how they can get more involved with you and your classes.
So I am Karli Raymond on Instagram. I am Karli Raymond on Instagram. I usually post if I'm doing a class. And so I do them monthly. So I'm doing one for June, and then July is coming up. I'll do another one probably around July 19th. So
and that's in Atlanta, right?
I host in-person classes in Atlanta, and then if I speak at retreats or anything like that or conferences, then I definitely let people know where I'm going to be.
Yeah, we can't wait to come to one of your classes. We're going to
support. I wish I can make the one this weekend, but I'm going to a vow renewal.
I would love for y'all to come.
Absolutely.
Y'all see all my visuals. Y'all see all the hear all the crazy questions, because once they get some cocktails, they really start from
July.
July 19th.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, so we want to wrap this up and let you guys know about our sexy playlist that we made for you ladies that you can find on Apple Music.
We're going to put the link in the description of this video, but we created a Steady Mommin, Steady Sexy playlist. So, if you need something to help make you feel all good and sexy, get you in the mood.
I love that.
Yes. Go ahead and listen to our playlist, baby.
Yeah, we got old school 90s, 2000s.
Slow R&B. We got some
Oochie Bang Bang t-shirt and some panties on.
A lot of stuff. So y'all download that. And we always love to end our shows with an amazing affirmation, okay? Today's affirmation is, I am worthy of my own love and respect, and I choose to live my life with confidence and authenticity. All right. So get your journal, fill a page.
Yes.
And we will see y'all next time.
All right.
Keep grinding.
Keep thriving.
And keep it sexy.
Ow.